You're welcome back. I have with me Yvonne Ebbi, the Senior Consultant Etiquette Place, once again to empower us with information on etiquette. Yvonne?
It's nice to see you again.
Same here. Thank you very much for the last time.
Thank you.
And thank you again for coming to empower us with information.
All right.
Today we'll be talking about dining etiquettes.
Yes, we will.
Even myself, I'm confused. So why is dining etiquette so important?
These days,
Yes.
lots of things happen over the table.
Yes.
You sign, deals, you close deals, and people go for lunch dates, not just to eat and have something in your stomach. It's because you also want to have a conversation with people. So you must just know the social part of it. You must understand why eating right is correct. People judge you by two things: how you eat and how you use the bathroom.
Okay.
I don't care where you've schooled or how exposed you think you are. People are watching you and drawing conclusions based on these things.
Yes.
So imagine you went to Harvard, for example,
Yes.
or Oxford, or one of the best schools, and then you want to use the bathroom in the office, and you take everything off. You have everything goes off your trousers, and people are watching your clothes under the door of the bathroom,
Yes.
and you spend like a long time there. By the time you come out, nobody else can go in. That's the bathroom. Then people are also watching how you eat. So it happened to someone who had a UN offer, and he was competent, he was good, he had the skills, he passed the regular test. The last test was a lunch date, and that's where he blew it. He put salt in the food before tasting it.
Yes.
And maybe he was nervous. Maybe he just didn't know what to do. Maybe he was just afraid or didn't know. He was just nervous. But that was one thing that just disqualified him. He may have been very good for the post, but the conclusion was he would very likely draw conclusions without gathering enough facts. Based on that assumption, he got disqualified for that job. So you want to ensure that you know what to do, because people are drawing conclusions based on how you carry yourself and compose yourself in the dining. Very important.
Okay.
Yes.
So now we are sitting on the dining table with all this. Let's start with how do we sit? Some sit this way.
Right.
Some sit this way.
The basic rule
So
is,
how do we start? Let's start. How do you
right.
sit?
The basic rule is you sit down comfortably.
Okay.
Near enough. You can't sit down too far. Okay. You can't sit down too close. You can't hog the table because of whatever reasons. You can't sit down too close as well. You sit down just near enough, comfortable. But the rule of etiquette is always be considerate of others. So you can't sit down and then I'm forever hitting your shoes. By the way, you're very pretty shoes.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, and because you also want to enjoy the meal. Yes. You want to enjoy the complete package, networking, to get a good meal with other people. It's all part of what we're doing, during lunch or during a dinner or lunch date. So you want to ensure that you sit comfortably. Okay. Put your feet under the table. Usually, dining tables are usually quite comfortable, have enough space, are quite spacious. So dress with that in mind. You don't dress in the way that, you have your headgear all, pointing everywhere, and then you have this very bogus thing, and people have to give you two spaces for one because of how you dress. So you must have that in mind. I'm going for a dinner date. If need be, ask the host if there's a sort of like a code. Is there a dress code?
Yes.
And if need be, call the restaurant as well. Is there a particular way? Just find out how was the most appropriate way to appear for that. So you don't look like, different and odd or funny or silly, without meaning to. So sit down without put it under the table and be comfortable.
Okay.
Be comfortable. Don't cross your legs. You won't have space for that. You won't. Probably won't have space for that.
Okay. Okay, now we're sitting properly, comfortably, right? Yes. So where do we start from?
You start with a napkin. And you open the napkin, you put the napkin on your lap and open it on your lap. You don't do things like,
Okay. So most people don't really do. Okay, so you don't do this.
You just put it on your lap and then open it from there.
Okay.
You never put the napkin here. You're not a beep. You're not a child. You're an adult. So put it on your lap. Okay. Don't use a napkin to clean your nose. Not to clean your eyes or, to blow your nose. These are all such gross things people do on the dining table. It's not a handkerchief. You have a handkerchief probably in your bag. You can mop your face and all that. It's not the one I use. I'm like, oh, Lord, what a hard day. And you clean from, I see all sorts of things. So you put the napkin on open the napkin, once you put it on your lap, and you start from there. And typically, you only put your hand on your table, on the table when you're eating. You don't do that. If there are no utensils involved, you're done with eating, you won't have a discussion, it's different. Of course you can do what but once there are utensils involved, you don't put your elbow and you don't do it's even looking very odd. I'm sure you will feel odd if you did that. So you put the napkin first and foremost. And then, if you're in an invited setting, you watch the host. You give the guest of honor the preferred seat, and the host sits next to the guest of honor, usually on the right of the guest of honor. And then you must pay attention. If you're eating by yourself, you're fine. You can do, there are a few rules that you can actually, go without. But if you're eating with other people, you've got to be observant. And you also must watch what's happening. You can just come there like, hunger wants to kill me, please, I beg. No, you watch. So the seat, and then you take a cue from her or from him, and whatever he does, so he puts the napkin on the table, you just wait. And then she commissions the meal, or like this, can we start? You might want to begin with a grace or something, a short prayer if you need to, and then you start eating. If you don't know what to do, just watch. But don't watch like, pretend if you must. Subtly watch what's happening. So you have your plate in front of you. Typically, in most restaurants these days, you have the first course. You have like a 3-course minimum, like a 3-course meal. You have your appetizer, which could be soup or bread. It could also be pepper soup. Recently, you can have your chicken or your goat meat, whatever it is. Now, for the bread, you don't use a knife to cut the bread. It's not your sandwich. This is bread for first course, So you cut the bread and you cut just the piece you want to eat. You don't cut the entire. Honestly, if you want to go for a lunch date, eat at home. If you're not sure how to behave, so you're not overwhelmed by hunger or something, and then you embarrass yourself, because there's a saying, the world is your oyster. Don't use the wrong fork.
Hold the thoughts. Hold that thought. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. You're welcome back. I'm sure so far you've learned 1 or 2 things. You don't do your napkin like this. You're welcome back.
Right.
Okay, now.
So so that's how the bread you're using with the soup. You just take the bits you need, and then it has to be done in a way that people who are watching you or who are eating at the same time you don't get offended. That some things can offend them, the way you eat. If you eat noisily, fancy if you're eating and someone goes, or scraping the plate,
your soup and your
manners. So if it is hot, don't blow and don't slur. You must create some sort of strategy that will not, put you in the wrong. You must constantly put your.
So you don't take your soup and then you do.
First of all, you don't even go the food goes to you.
Okay, so you don't go to the food. So you take your soup.
It's very funny if you go that way around. People are watching. And at that point,
the soup goes to you.
You get a soup spoon, and then and then the way you do it is the way you don't have to push it that way. I'm not like, so what's happening there? You eating? I don't have to. I don't. Okay. You did it you must eat quietly. You just must learn how to eat quietly. So perhaps once in a week, if you're watching, once in a week at home, you can just make your family have some formal setting that would encourage them. My parents did that. To use the cutlery set, to use the proper settings, so they can get used to it. If they go out there, they will not embarrass you. So take your soup spoon and you take it away from it. You scoop it that way. So you're giving it time to drop.
Okay, you take it away from the edge.
You're giving it time to drop, and then it goes into your mouth.
Okay.
Don't never get to a formal setting too hungry, because you may not be in control. You may not be in charge. So you do it that way, and then no matter how nice that soup is, don't fall into the temptation of tilting the plates and thinking, because sometimes it can be too sweet and you want the last drop, so you just go. Even when you're drinking,
Yes.
you don't also take it away. You know how you're drinking something and like, guy, that thing is done. That liquid content is finished. You're drinking as if, you want all the drugs, to be, it's a recession, so you want to be sure that nothing gets wasted. So you're done with that, and then
you're done with your soup.
So typically you use the cutlery from outside in.
From outside in. Did you hear that? You use your cutlery from outside in.
You remember that policy would help you. So we have a salad fork here, we have a dinner fork here. This was a soup spoon we just used that was here. Yes. So while you're done with the first course. I said you had your bread. Remember, you didn't have to use a knife to cut it.
Yes.
You just open it, you put a bit of butter in it, and just have a bite size. So you don't eat in a way that your mouth is so full. You can have a conversation. You're doing God help you if you choke. Everything just comes out on the table. So you have to be conscious of the fact that you don't want to offend people. You don't want to be offensive while you're eating. You must enjoy your company. If you're having a lunch date, for example, and it's supposed to be over a meeting over lunch, you will speak. So you can't be so engrossed with the food. You can't even have a conversation. So you must be careful about those sorts of things. And then when you want to start the main meal.
So you take this off. So now we've done with this.
This one. Let's put it here. Let's put it here.
Okay.
So you want to have the main meal. You've got to learn how to use
a cutlery.
I see all sorts of things, and I see like.
So what's the proper way? Okay, this is the salad spoon where you have finished with your salad, and then this is your main course. That's a dinner fork. So
you hold it, index finger. You put the index finger about an inch from it. Same with this one as well. You put the tines down. You put the and that's not how you're going to hold it. You're going about an inch or two from the plate. And then you just cut the size you require. Don't chop all the entire yam into bits of pieces. You're not a child. Don't do that. Just chop. No, just chop the part you need. 1 or 2, and then you're eating. If the chicken has made up his mind not to be cut that day,
leave it.
Because you try to cut it, it jumps off your plate onto someone's plate. It will be funny. This is supposed to be a well-dressed, thought about lotto. And then if you're not using it, I remember I went to a restaurant when I was really, really small, maybe like 4 or so, and I didn't know all the rules by then. So I was eating, and then I probably put my cutlery together, which probably means that you're done. And they picked up. I'm like, no, I'm not done. Bring my plate back. So even if they don't speak your language, the cutlery on the table, the symbols you use, the signals you use as well, give a kind of signal to the waiters to know what to do. So they can tell without asking. Okay. Just for instance, you're in China, you can't speak a word of Chinese. You can tell without asking that this person is done, or she's still not. So you put it in kind of like a V. Okay. If you're not done. And then if you need to excuse yourself, don't tell us stuff like, I've had a horrible tummy upset. I've been to the bathroom 6 times in the last 2 hours. We're eating. Spare us the details. Just put your napkin. Just say, I'd like to be excused. And just go and come back. If for any reason, for example, you have to cough, you just have that problem, you should really have a handkerchief close by. But if for whatever reason you really don't have any, you can go ahead and just, maybe you have to sneeze and you didn't plan for it, you can cover it with a napkin, but it's only an exception. You should be prepared for such things. And then, so you have your eating, and then you're having a conversation. We shouldn't see the masticated food. So he was. No. So you eat it in bite sizes and swallow it quickly and speak. And if for whatever reason you take a cup of something, tea or coffee or whatever it is, and it is too hot, don't take a big gulp if you're not sure of the temperature. Don't just go, oh, gosh, thank God I saved my tongue, Don't, just take a sip. If it's too hot, take a glass of water. It will help. The panache story and the poise story is hard work.
Really hard.
It's painful work, yes, but it's worth it. It opens amazing doors for you. People are watching you. They can tell how exposed you are based on how you use,
So you say if you have not finished, you keep it
Absolutely. When you're
like
done,
a V.
it goes.
When you're done, it goes together.
We have this discussion of people asking, how do I manage African foods? You know, we are African.
And we need to use our.
The rule is, don't ignore a set table. In your house, don't even sit on the chair. Sit on the floor. Wash your hands. Spread your legs. Put it in the calabash if you need to. Put the then pick your teeth. That's no problem. But when you're eating in public, you've got to learn to be considerate of other people. People are going to get disgusted, unknown to you. So in your, I want to be free, I want to be African, you might stop people from enjoying their own space, their own freedom. So why don't you just be cautious? You can do as you please at home, but when you're having a formal setting, a lunch date, you've got to be ready to compromise and sacrifice. So everyone is happy, and everyone is good. So your water is, your liquid is usually on the right.
Yes.
You take your liquid on the right, and you don't just grab it from, grab it from there, oh! People are watching you. You have to behave properly.
And what's the pattern to hold a stem glass?
So like if it's a wine glass,
yes.
This is what the hotel gave us as the water glass. This is a white wine glass. You can hold it at the stem. Okay. But if it's a red, we may hold it, at the global if you want to for a red wine glass. But for a
white wine, you hold the stem. And for the red wine glass, you
might hold it.
Hold that thought. Right. Hold that thought. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hello, you're welcome back.
Right.
Now, we're talking about holding a white wine glass this way.
Absolutely.
A red wine glass this way.
Yes.
And if you're given a stem glass like this for water, how do you hold that?
You actually have the option of holding either the stem, or closer to the glove, but never hold it across.
Never hold it like this?
Never hold it across it, never hold it. You can hold it from the stem, you can hold it, particularly if you have to pass something. So you're passing stuff to your rights. And then if someone says, for example, may I have the salt? And then it occurs to you that, oh yes, true, I've been thinking about salt all along. It's rude to put it first in your, pass it along first of all.
When
it'll come back to you. Next time, try and remember early enough to, but if someone makes that request, don't think, oh yes, I was thinking of something and now I realize I needed some salt. No, just pass it on. You've got to remember this because, you must make the entire session interesting, polite, considerate. Don't make it look like people just came there to eat, and then don't pick your teeth in public. It's rude.
No, Nigerians sometimes will take.
People do this. It's even worse. you eat quietly, and you pick your teeth in private. It's really not nice to do that. What if a tendon comes out and just goes on your cheek? That's really not nice. So you want to ensure that everyone around you is also enjoying the meal. Don't be rude. There's a book that says, "Don't take the last donut." So at the table, you don't think you're the only person there. You're taking. You want some more, by the way. When it comes to if you don't want it, not like, what is this self? Gosh, this is a formal setting. If you don't like it, just pass. Hold yourself. Compose yourself. Don't think you must let us know. Where I come from, we don't really like this. We don't take. Listen, keep your thoughts.
And how about cases where you find out that maybe it's a planned, plated dinner and or lunch, and so you had pre-ordered for the food,
right.
And then the food comes in and you don't like it.
You have to also know what the guests planned for, because the person who invited you for the dinner or lunch shouldn't also go and be bankrupt because you want to have you might just want to give it a try. But whatever you're giving it a try, take a little bit. Take a bit of it. If you don't like it, there's so much more. There are drinks. There's going to be a dessert. You can fill up yourself with other things. You mustn't make it an issue, and be rude about it and complain. That's so distasteful. So you want to be sure that you carry everyone along as you're eating, and you enjoy the company of people who brought you along, and you have a conversation without having to be rude or impolite, or arrogant about it, and never let people see, that whole thing. People do it so much. I see people put their finger in and pull out something, and then and then you put your hand in because something is not coming out properly, and you bring it right out. Lick it. Lick your finger. Finger foods, yes, you can do that. So you want to bring out something from your mouth, for example. You bring it out with the same cutlery you put it in. So you took something in with maybe with a fork, for example, and it's messing. So you want to bring out the meat with bone or something, you bring it out the same and put it on the side of the plate. Don't put stuff on the mat. I see that people eating in public and they put the bones, like this is a bone, like just put it on the side. It's your bone, it's your plate, that's how the plate there. And keep it. It has to still look neat. You shouldn't feel eating and everything is just scattered, you know, there's everything here. Just put them all together, put the things together, and put the cutlery together. And carry on with what you're eating. And then if you're heavily made up, for example, they want to have a drink, and you want to use a serviette to just like dab a bit before, or dab your lips a bit before, so it doesn't have the whole story of exactly how you made up on the glass and all sort of stuff. You want to be sure that those things are in place. So that people see you, and from eating they can tell how far they perceive you have gone. It may not be the truth, but by the way you converse during meals, somebody else they're going to sign up something for him, and they wanted him to be some manager for a region, for multinational. It was good, but when they met him, it was with a toothpick under the door. So he knows the job, technical skills are intact, but he doesn't understand how to represent the brand. How to be an ambassador, a global ambassador. Why would you wait so long to learn the basic rules of eating? So your napkin is in place, your feet are nicely tucked away, and then you're having a conversation, but not when you have food in your mouth. And you know how to hold. You learn. It's something once a week. Have a family gather together if need be, and use the format. You can laugh at yourselves, correct yourself, but you.
Most of the time, we eat with one fork.
Absolutely, yeah. So while you're doing that, while you're doing, because usually you use your fork, your left and your knife in your right hand. Some places actually allow you to just use your knife temporarily. Like
the Americans, they do it.
Americans do a lot of things crazy.
That's true. That's very true.
It's convenient.
It's very convenient. Everybody does that.
But while you're still doing that, your hand either stays just on the table or your lap, but not your elbow. No, absolutely wrong. So liquids on the right, you're eating your food, you're careful about showing off whether you're done,
or whether you
still want to, whether you're done. You're careful about how you hold the white wine stem. You're careful about how you pass things at the table. You're careful about how loud your eating is. So you just must remember you must eat quietly, and the food goes to you. You don't go
to the food. And then you must remember, do you leave anything behind if the food is too sweet and you decide to eat everything in the plate? Is there any harm to that?
No, but we mustn't hear you doing that. It's not nice. Because you have made a vow that you will not waste your entire life.
One grain of rice.
A bag of rice, by the way, here is so high today, so you want to be sure. You've got to be careful about that. So don't forget your appetizer, your bread, you don't use a knife to cut it. You chop it up with the amount you can
bite size.
Put the butter in it and eat it, but with your mouth shut. You're eating quietly.
And then when you finish eating, what do you do with
the napkin? You put the napkin. Don't fold it back.
Don't fold it back. Okay.
On the table. Don't fold it back.
Okay.
Now, if you need to leave the table for whatever reasons, put the napkin on the chair, soil side up. If for whatever reasons you saw someone next to you, don't go. Have you ever had that experience? Someone messed you up and tried to undo it, right? Yes. And he's coming to say, "Madam," I'm like, hey, one sin is bad enough. Just offer, your apologies. In other settings, you can actually offer to dry clean if you need to. But here, offer your apologies. Don't over. I apologize. It was entirely a mistake. I apologize. Don't now offer to clean it off. Don't do that. Just allow the person to do the best thing by himself. And then the host must arrange for the bill to be brought to him. It's funny when you have guests and the waiter brings the bill to one of your guests. And the guest is wondering, am I supposed to pick this bill? Yeah. Right, so you must arrange with the restaurant. I'm the one picking the bill. Bring the bill to me. Some will still forget and take it to your guest. Just nicely ask the guest to please pass it over to you, and then you can deal with whether you want to give a tip or something. Just quietly. You shouldn't also say, the dollar has finished also. Look at this amount of money you have to pay.
Most people will say this is elitist, and they go to their mama put joint and eat their food. And most people will say, well, I'll never go for dinner or for lunch. So what do you say to those kinds of people?
This whole dining etiquette is linked to how professional you are. people just unconsciously associate you with, good manners. You must be professional if you know how to eat properly. If you don't know how to eat properly and you have that dream to progress your career, you just must learn it. I don't know where else you want to eat, but you have to learn how, because people are closing deals, even career deals, on the table. So you just must know what to do when you get to the table. You can't go there and you just, you're slouching and you're spreading your legs carelessly and you're playing with your phone. One more thing, the phone. Put your phone off or on silent. It's rude to check the internet, or you're doing your Facebook or WhatsApping while you're having a formal dinner. It's not acceptable, it's rude. So you must just know, knowledge is power, and you're about people's information about what to do. You just must know how, even if you don't want to do it often, when you have to do it, how do you do it? You just must know what to do. It gives you confidence. You can't hide ignorance. If you don't know it, it's going to show. So you just at least must have that information. You have dinners everywhere. People are doing deals, closing deals over dinner, over lunch, are having meetings over. You're having business meetings over lunch. So how do you compose yourself? What do you do? You can't go there thinking this is now it's like a scarf. You now carry it and tie it because I don't care about it. I'm African. I can go to Mama. But no, you have to just know. Knowledge is still power. Stop flaunting ignorance. It doesn't help you. So know what to do. Be prepared. Be equipped for it. At home, you can do as you please. But once in a while, once in a week or fortnightly, gather your family on the table and just practice how to eat in a formal setting. It will help you.
And then finally, in the beginning you said you have to wait for the host to commission.
Right.
So how do you rise from the table? Do you wait for the host to rise from the table?
Typically after having, the formal, the lunch, the host will lead you to the dessert spot where you can have, but at that point you're eating, you're freer, you're more flexible. And then if you're done, you must go, just show a sign. But you must let her know you have to leave for whatever reasons, and then you're gone. You don't have to stay till the end if you don't want to. But if you've planned to all be together for a session after lunch, then you just must be there as planned.
Thank you very much, Yvonne. Thank you. I'm really honored, and I'll invite you, any fallout from this, to come and empower us with more information. And then I'll invite you so we talk more on etiquette. There are certain things that we really have to know.
Absolutely.
Thank you so very much for coming.